What I'm going to demo today is I want to demo how I can use this sort of screen setting recording setup that I have, and I'm going to demo it using my iPad, and my iPad is right here in the corner, bloop, and my iPad microphone I've got set up, a desktop microphone, my computer, which I can't take, the built-in camera, and also a remote camera for taking things, and a lavalier mic that I'm using. This setup is essentially configured for two different scenarios. One is when I'm at the desk right now, and this is doing what's called a screencast. A screencast, excuse me, is nice because it gives me my main interaction. Since I teach computer science, the main interaction I have with potential students is going to be programming, and you can see I have a programming window set up here, and I can do things like print hello world, and you can see, and we can see the evaluation hello world, and it prints up over there, or at the bottom there. And so that's one of my main interactions. Another one is where I have slides that I'm stepping through. The nice thing about slides, and especially this is where it becomes nice having the iPad set up, is that the iPad allows us to do both at the same time. It is possible to do screencast. I could have two windows on there, but when I record them as two separate inputs, I can actually move them around. And I've found that the iPad Pro is really an excellent device for giving presentations in general. Not only does it give me the slides themselves and I can step through them, but it also gives me the ability to draw on the slides themselves. This is really nice if I want to call something out while I'm doing it. Now these notes can stay on the slides, and I can upload the slides with the notes online, or the notes can just stay there as they are. This way I basically have the notes that I want the students to see. I have the desktop environment where I'm giving the programming environment here, blah, 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 and we can do for, it doesn't need to actually be programming. I'm just showing you that yes, I can program. Hi. And it does in fact work. I can step through slides over here. I can change, and so using the power of editing, I will change the size of the two. You can see I have my whole desktop here. I don't have to do this. I could actually have it configured so it would do just a particular region or window if I felt so inclined. I like having the whole window though. I have a fairly big desktop because it gives me some space where I can drop the slides and I can move back and forth between them, so I can make reference to the slides as students see them. So I really like that. And I'm using a nice desktop mic. I'm using a Yeti mic for this because it makes it a lot easier for people who are listening if the sound comes in that's really good. And this is one of the things that I found is very surprising, is that having a nice high quality mic really improves the sound quality. So I've got a really nice mic for my desk. It's attached to a shock mount, so that means it doesn't pick up quite as many clicks, although you can probably still hear some, especially if I really hammer it. It's also on an arm, so that allows me to adjust it to a proper height, so I can be really right into it if I need to be. And I'm sitting back probably a little bit farther than I should, given the levels. So that's all for the desk, and so that gives me a better desktop experience for that. For the whiteboard, you can see I have the camera's been disconnected. I have a camera that's set up on a tripod that shoots to the whiteboard, and you'll see footage of that in just a minute. That's a really nice setup. It's important there. I can get really good video quality, so I have a really nice, I have a much nicer, higher quality camera for recording those whiteboard segments. Unfortunately, getting a high quality microphone for that is much more challenging because the nice thing about this is I can speak right into it. It's like a musician's microphone. I can be right here, but I can't talk into this and be in front of the whiteboard at the same time. So there's an inherent trade-off that sort of you have to live with unless you want to spend gobs of money, which I don't really want to. It seems like it's a really nice setup. I've given one lecture on this so far. I haven't done the lectures with a whiteboard. I've done a little sample with whiteboard, and that seems to work pretty well. The biggest complaint is that it does seem like I guess not complaint, the biggest thing which is challenging is it does seem like I'm actually going to have to do a small to medium amount of editing after each of these, small little mistakes. Someone called me on my phone, and so I had to edit that whole thing out from my last presentation. On top of that, I'm using more sophisticated audio and video capture systems in addition to the screen capture, so I can get a little bit better quality video and a little bit better quality audio, which means that in order to do that, I have to spend a bit more time editing. Especially as these videos get longer, that sort of means I have to sit through each one after I've given it. So it kind of means that I have to probably spend, if I'm being really diligent about it, if I give an hour lecture, I probably need to be spending an hour editing as well. I could probably shortcut that. I can keep track of where I think edits need to happen. And so when I did edit my 20-minute video I gave earlier, it did end up taking about 10 minutes because I knew where I wanted to be and I wasn't being too particular about it. Anyways, it's a nice setup. If you have any questions about how to get this set up, feel free to ask. With this, let's go to the whiteboard and see how that turns out. All right. So one of the things that you can do is you can set up a camera and also set up a lavalier mic. And using that, you can record yourself at a distance. You can get high quality sound. I'm using my iPhone to record my lavalier mic, and I'm using an app called Ferrite. I'll post the URL to it. And this lets us have the higher quality sound and also a nice high quality camera. One of the things that's really nice, that's nice about that is it means I can also go to the whiteboard. Now, the reason why I chose a lavalier mic as opposed to a boom mic. A boom mic is really nice because it gets distance and you don't have to do this, and it hooks directly into the camera. But when you use a lavalier mic, it means that even when I look away from the camera, you still can hear me just as well. I have a whiteboard set up in my office, so that seemed to be a good solution to it. And with the whiteboard, I can have it, and you can see my whole schedule here, and I have nothing confidential set up here, and so I can draw and I can do whiteboard work as well. In theory, I could also have my iPad or a computer set up with slides as well. I don't currently have that set up, but I could do that as well, where I could actually have this whiteboard interaction and a slide and go back and forth between it. I'll try doing a demo of that later, or when I do it, you can see it, but it's going to take a few minutes to set that up. But anyways, yeah, whiteboard, catch the fever.